All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mystic Lake Casino's Epic 1.0 League of Legends Finals. I am Steven Sirkangas, joined by Cole, Culture, Gibson. I'm very honored to be here on the casting desk tonight, or this afternoon, this morning, whatever you want to call it. It's 10 a.m., 10:30 technically, but by the time we're done, hopefully it'll be afternoon, because this is a best of 5 series. We have the two best teams here at the tournament loaded up on the Rift, getting ready to go into picking bands. Culture, talk to me about how excited you are for this match.
Well, Steve, I believe almost no matter what time zone you're in on the west side of the world, it's probably morning. But besides that point, I'm really excited, man. This isn't just a best of 5 for $10,000 in the biggest tournament in the history of Minnesota esports. It's also a grudge match between two teams. One whose top laner abandoned them to play in this tournament, and the other looking to get some revenge.
Yeah, if you're tuning in on Twitch, we do have the top laner for Nantucket Derby is the old top laner for St. Cloud Storm, or technically still their top laner right now. He jumped ship just for this tournament. I don't know what the story is behind that. They seem to still be friendly and joking with each other, so I don't think they had beef. But it definitely is, raising some questions as to why St. Cloud Storm had to bring in an emergency substitute top laner.
I mean, all I can assume is that he was tired of having to carry that weight, and therefore was like, I want to win the grand prize of this $10,000, and I want to secure it. So we'll see how it works out from Cotton. It's a bold strategy.
Well, Nantucket Derby is undefeated so far. Not a single team has been able to pick up a single win, even in the semifinals in a best of 3 against a very strong-looking team, Perp. So all eyes on Nantucket Derby. Can they continue that momentum going forward, or is St. Cloud Storm finally the team to take them down? Keep in mind, St. Cloud Storm are also going to be playing tomorrow in the MNLCS finals. So definitely some very strong performers on that team.
And Nantucket has been able to show a lot of diversity, a lot of strength in several different parts of the game, from the way they play their macro to the champions they play. However, for St. Cloud, they're a team that for most of the tournament has gone untested because most teams just haven't even banned out their composition. They talked to us at the beginning of the tournament. They were like, teams just don't seem to actually take away our champions, so we'll play them all the time. So I expect to see some bans, seeing as their old top laners on the other side. I expect to see some bans going their way to take that away. Just be a real test on Summoner's Rift in pick and ban to start us off, to see if they'll even challenge them in this first match, in this first game.
And we did have the side of St. Cloud Storm win the coin flip. They chose red side, so we see them on the right side. They're not losing any of their major bans except for that Xayah. This is an 80 carry that they really like to play around. So at least this is some addressing of that issue. They still have the Swain. They still have things like the Braum that they like to play. But Swain wasn't banned from red side. So if I'm Nantucket Derby, I'm picking it up right now.
Exactly, and you had to think that it's because the side of St. Cloud have a counter to this. They know that it's going to be first pick. They know it's going to be first taken off the rip as a takeaway and as a strong first pick in this meta. We saw the Xayah and Sejuani taken away. Those are both power picks, comfort picks for the side of St. Cloud. The Zac and the Morgana picked up here in response. Yep. I'm very curious to see if they have a mid counter coming through in this next phase for St. Cloud, because if they don't, you'll have to be sure that mid lane bans will be coming from Nantucket. You see the Lulu picked here. They're going to go ahead and most likely lock in their bottom lane, or at least take that support pick, and then either they can look for a top laner, look for a jungler, because they might get their jungler banned out, or finish that bottom side of the map.
I would even like Nantucket Derby to grab a jungler right now as they are hovering that J4, because look at everything else banned out. Trundle, Skarner, Sejuani, Zac's picked. We haven't seen a J4 in a while, but it's still viable. That's a jungler. I don't know if it would have been banned against them, though. So I would have maybe liked to see them grab something a little higher priority. Right. But you know what? We'll see if this still works out for them. And answered with a Cassiopeia. This is very classic for red side to pick a mid laner, because now they can ban out 2 of the counters.
Exactly. And J4, we saw it early in the tournament, and actually did a fairly good job. He's still good at his kit, which is just instant knock-up, easy engage from the J4. It's more about execution around him these days, because he's not as tanky as he used to be, so he can't do it as often and just as with impunity as he did before. Now, the Cassiopeia is an interesting pick because it can actually be flex top lane. We saw it in LCK finals. It can go top, it can go mid, so it can answer the Swain in either lane. It's a great pick in the Swain early, because early on, Cassiopeia does have the power and the push at that level 3, while Swain still has to kind of scale up, get to level 5 to have some lane presence, and then be able to get to his tier to the Catalyst to actually be able to challenge her a little bit earlier. In the bans, we do see the Gnar and the Caitlyn coming out, taking that away from St. Cloud.
A lot of top lane bans.
A lot of top lane bans too. Just trying that top lane pool being shrunk so much means that this Swain might actually just end up in the top lane just because the top lane doesn't have those safety picks. We did see the top laner from Nantucket, Nan Hunter, play these safety picks in the Maokai and Shin early and go off on them.
Well, Brent Haugen's the top laner. They're not in
Oh, they're not in
correct
LCS
order.
order.
They had mentioned that they choose to draft in this order because it's easier for them to actually get the champions that they want, due to just their accounts not owning every champion. So
Okay.
we'll make sure to change that once we get into the
Right.
game. But here's their top laner locked in now. So it should be the Swain mid with the Camille top lane. I like this aggressive type of style from Brent Haugen. We've seen him pop off on carries in this tournament already.
And with the Gnar band away, there's not a lot that can counter the Camille, just answer it. So the Scion is still up to answer. The Ornn is still up to answer. Both of them won't have the best of lane times. There's also the Poppy, too, as a counter that you can pick into as well.
True.
We'll see if the side of St. Cloud will pick that up. I don't believe they picked it up all tournament, but they haven't had to. So we'll see if it's in their roundhouse, in their wheelhouse.
Yep.
The Varus there picked up as well to round out the bottom lane. Morgana, Varus, a very, very strong lane. Sivir,
A lot of
Lulu.
pick potential.
A lot of pick potential. And Sivir Lulu will just look to sort of get through the lane. They won't have a ton of lane pressure.
And there's a tank we haven't talked about, Shogath. I actually like this a lot because we're talking about that big potential, the Varus Morgana. They also have a Zac who has really long range initiation. A Shogath has great follow-up initiation with that Rupture. So I like this composition coming out right now from St. Cloud Storm.
Yeah, the Cho'Gath really rounds out the composition. It has a lot of application. Team fights not only the kill pressure onto the AD carry, on the carries with the feast, but also the knockups, as you said, the silences, and then a lot of objective pressure from the Cho'Gath. They can just bully around objectives with vision control of all they want to, and it's a great answer in the Camille because he can just sustain throughout the lane phase.
Yeah.
She can bully him, yes, but as long as he doesn't overstep his bounds, he can just sustain through it and work his way through lane.
And if you look at the side that Nantucket Derby was able to draft, they don't have a single tank. I mean, you can say Swain will get tanky, J4 can build tanky, but they don't have a hard, tank like a Maokai, like a Shen, something along those lines. So this Cho'Gath's Feast is going to do a lot of damage, probably take away half the health bar of any member he decides to turn his eyes on.
Exactly. You'll be looking to see the J4 build tank at this time. Not really the Bruiser build that we sometimes see where he goes for a damage item or two so he can fully burst out targets. We shouldn't see that. The Swain does scale up into getting tanky. He doesn't start that way, but he certainly gets that way later in the game.
It feels like he's a tank because he just heals so much.
Because of the demonic ascension, just sustain, it's almost like you can't kill him in team fights. A lot of zone control. What I'm seeing from Nantucket right now is they're going to want to have that instant go-in potential where you have the Cataclysm come out from the J4. He gets the extra beefiness from the Lulu growth. And then after that, the Camille just going to want to lock up the person in the Cataclysm and just burst them out. She's going to be a lot of the damage. And then Sivir's going to do that damage over time, that sneaky Sivir damage that you don't see coming until you get hit with 5 Boomerang Blades and you're already low health. And you're like, holy crap, how did I get here? And then Swain's going to look to zone control and clean up the fight.
This is what I like to call, from Nantucket, the composition that they drafted is the run at you really fast type of composition, where it's like, I'll just get Swain on the back line, get Camille on the back line, get J4 on somebody, Sivir speeds them all up, Lulu keeps them safe. So very different stylistic compositions.
Exactly.
One just wants to run at you, the other wants to get picks, wants to team fight. Right. I mean, they both have fairly strong team fights, in my opinion, but I'm going to give it more over to St. Cloud Storm just because they have so much CC that they can layer, whereas the side of Nantucket, they just kind of want to run and delete you right away. It's going to be hard to delete a Zac, hard to delete a Cho'Gath. Even that Black Shield from Morgana is going to be difficult. You're running into a Miasma and a Petrifying Gaze. It's going to be hard for them to pull that off.
Both teams have very, very interesting ways of accessing the backline.
Yes.
For Nantucket, it's going to be the Camille J4 looking to combo the backline, looking to find that Varus, the low mobility carry, and completely delete him before he can have any participation in fights. For St. Cloud, it's going to be more elongated team fights with the Zac looking to possibly bounce somebody like the Sivir into their team to find a kill. Maybe even a Lulu to get that supportive caster mage out of the fight early so she can't apply the shields, the small amounts of the damage she does sneakily over time, and the nature's growth. So she can't provide that for the rest of the team. Go ahead and kill her right away. But most of St. Cloud, what they want to do is just front to back damage over time. The caster was going to want to whittle down this J4, whittle down the Swain, even the Camille if she goes to the back line. Varus the same thing, with the Morgana providing some protection with the Black Shield. The Cho'Gath's going to want to stand in the middle of the fight, disrupt as he gets just ginormous after feasting a lot of objectives. And then the Zac's going to want to do the same thing as well.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of team fights from this game with the compositions that they drafted, but the only thing that could potentially stop that is a Camille split push style. We've been talking a lot about what if these teams run at each other. We didn't talk about as much the macro control. If they put this Camille in the top lane or the bot lane and just try to control sides, and they're able to get Camille a lead, Cho'Gath can have quite a difficult time dealing with that because of her hyper mobility. It's hard to land those ruptures. Sometimes it's even hard to hit the silence fields on her. So, different stylistic options that Nantucket Derby can choose. But I want to give a quick shout out again to Mystic Lake Casino and Shift Up for hosting this great, fantastic event. This is Geek as well, title sponsor. Anybody here, you see these signs all over the place. Beautiful, beautiful green hue to them. Apparently printed all in shop here.
Oh, yeah.
For anybody that didn't know, everything that you see around you is printed in the casino. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Mystic Lake has been outstanding at running this event. You couldn't have asked for much better for the first ever esports event, large-scale esports event in Minnesota history. I mean, it's just been fantastic to be here in the cast. I've honestly just been blown away by the value of the event planning, the area around us. It's just awesome.
Yeah, hopefully many more to come.
Yep.
I'd love to come back.
Oh, sure. Definitely. You know what? I mean,
I'd love to see this audience come back as well.
Yeah, I flew all the way up here from Atlanta. I mean, who's to say I wouldn't love to do it again? I mean, it's been a great experience. So.
All right, well, we are loading its game for your Mystic Lake Epic 1.0 Grand Finals. On the blue side, we have Nantucket Derby with Brett Haugen in the top lane, Nan Hunter in the jungle, Feed My Nantucket mid, and Swamp Man with Zor on the bottom side.
And when you're watching this early game, look for J4 to spend a lot of time in that top side of the map. We said that Camille, they want to get her going, get her snowballed, because everyone other side of their map is going to want to scale up. The Sivir and the Lulu are going to try and play a safer lane. They can get ganked once she gets on the hunt and J4 has Cataclysm if they can pump out the damage. But for this first 10 minutes or so, expect it to be a lot of Camille J4 topside focus against this Cho'Gath, because Cho'Gath can get picked on early in the 2v1. He is fairly squishy in the early goings of the game. They're going to want to get her going, get her revved up so that everyone else can scale up while she buys them time to get to their items.
It's always so sad to see that Cho'Gath at level 1 beginning of the game. He's so tiny,
so small,
just looks so frail.
I mean, you think of it, it's like you hear his voice lines, like instead of hearing the deep voice, you think they'd be like, "You wish the world to end."
Change it like Zach, you know, when
exactly.
Like smaller he is,
right.
higher pitches.
I think that'd be a cute change. People would find a good meme out of that. Maybe for April Fools.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. All right, well, pretty standard start here at the beginning. Repeat after me actually got to lane pretty late here, but he's still going to be doing just fine getting that farm. Both junglers just getting some camps. Where do you expect to see them putting their focus first?
Like we said, the J4, I expect them to go top first. For the Zac, it's always with Zac now, ever since they nerfed him to where it's clear and it's healthy. You just want to go ahead and get the first clear done, maybe lay down some vision to protect your lanes until you get to that point where you're at the level 4. He could look for a level 3 gank, most definitely, if he finds a way to be healthy enough coming out of that jungle. But if he's not healthy enough coming out of the jungle, he's going to look to get level 3, level 4, come back, and then gank the mid lane, get this Cassiopeia some lane pressure, so then he can start laying down vision, and then also ganking the bot lane. We already see Sivir Lulu pushing in the Varus Morgana here. A lot of pressure being put down by Nantucket in the bottom side of the map. Very impressive, too, seeing as you think that the kill pressure from Varus and Morgana will be almost early.
Look at Nan Hunter finding Nightmare. Has to smite to get health. Flashes over the wall. There's a flag and drag. He gets the knockup. There's a blast code. Can he take it? And Nightmare with the escape flash forward from Nan Hunter. Can this Cassiopeia save him? They're using a TP. I believe it's from Repeat After Me.
TP.
Nan Hunter might actually get caught out if this Cassiopeia comes over. Oh, Nan Hunter with the plays gets a first blood out of the TP coming through from his own top laner. Can they turn it around on to Repeat After Me? Oh no, Feed My Nantucket flash away from the Cho'Gath there. Turning it on to I'm Habib. Can they get the damage onto the Cassiopeia?
No.
They get the knockup. That's 2 kills to Nantucket. And what was St. Cloud doing right there?
And that was just J4 Nan Hunter knowing the limits of Zac early, knowing he's going to be extremely low health, going for the rest of his clear in that top side of the map and executing on it perfectly, taking advantage of the low health Zac. The TP tried to come in to save the jungler for St. Cloud. However, the response from Nantucket was just that much faster, and that's why they won that team fight. Excellent play from them to get this early lead, and now it's showing in bot lane as well.
Yeah.
Varus already has the back away. He'll probably only come back if he's lucky with his pickaxe. Things are going extremely well for Nantucket right now.
Yeah, Yeah, it never feels good as an AD carry when you're in range of a flash ignite auto from the Lulu to kill you.
Right.
So
You,
definitely a wise back, but it means MK Bones is gonna be stuck under turret, and he's taking his own harass right now. Swamp Man's keeping very healthy in mana because he keeps using this spell shield beautifully against these Morgana bindings.
right. And that's something that I overlooked early in this game is that it is hard for Morgana to fully execute the way her lane's supposed to go when you have someone that has an innate way to basically cancel out your dark bindings.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of cleverness, takes a lot of ways to try and find out how to get that spell shield off of her first. Maybe once they hit level 6, they throw out the dark bind and get the spell shield, then throw out the chain of corruption to try and lock down the CC. But otherwise, that's why this push is so heavy, because it's so hard for them to even lock down the Sivir, and she's going to keep pushing wave into wave after wave into this Varus Morgana.
Yeah, look
And
at the CS advantage.
yeah, it's astronomical right now. Getting up there till about 20 CS, actually sitting at 22 CS ahead right now. Zach is definitely going to have to make a visit to his bottom lane, which hurts you because you want to visit the mid lane and get this Cassiopeia going to have some mid lane priority and have some river control. But when you have to focus your bot lane like this, you can't fully execute on that win condition.
Well, and also look at his top lane. Repeat after me, not having a great time against this Cassiopeia, or sorry, rather against this Camille. And Brenhaugen just having his way on the top side as well. So both side lanes winning for Nantucket is making this Zach's job so hard. Because like you were saying, Zach's like to play around mid as much as possible. It's a very strong lane for them to gank. Being on red side, I like ganking bot as well. And I'm surprised he actually hasn't gone down there yet. Repeat after me and Brenhaugen just trading some blows top. But again, I would like to see Nightmare go to the spot side as he is now.
Speak of the devil, he shall appear.
Spell shield's available for Swamp Man. He uses it. Oh, doesn't actually pop it. Now they're turning on to the Lulu. Can they get the Morgana in their flash forward with the binding? There's the ignite, but they turn around. MK Bones actually gets the kill, but he does fall at the end. 1-for-1 trade. That's not too bad if you're the side of St. Cloud right now. But Feed My Nantucket getting 1v1 by I'm Habib. He does have Flash available and Ghost. Is he even going to use a single one? There's Nan Hunter coming through. Doesn't get the knockup on Habib, but does get the electrocute damage. Flash away from the Cassiopeia. Nightmare's coming in around the backside. That was some bad communication between the team. What happened there? And if Nightmare's going in, Habib has to stay. That was questionable play.
Yeah, and that's just poor communication. You got to tell your jungler, hey, I got to duck out of this fight because J4 showed up, took me low, and one more never move, and that was a dead snake. And Zach just has to either realize that, or you have to communicate between each other and be like, hey, I got to back out. Well, you have to back out too.
Nan Hunter didn't have anything after that. He used all of his abilities, got Cassiopeia at about half health. I think they might have been able to turn that around, except the Cassiopeia was low on mana. That might have been the only limiting factor. Regardless, though, that doesn't feel good for the side of St. Cloud. Now 4-1, they're almost 2,000 gold behind. Actually, over 2,000 gold behind, 2,500.
Exactly.
I can do math.
You know what? I'm not questioning your math abilities. We all graduate elementary school here. We can all do math.
All right.
Addition, subtraction.
Thanks. You got my back.
Yeah.
That's a good co-caster right there.
So, but yeah, if you're the side of Nantucket, this is perfect for you because this means that the Swain, who already has 2 kills, he's already rushing his Rod of Ages, I believe. He could be going for the Abyssal Mask. He does have the Negatron Cloak. Or not the Negatron Cloak, the
No Magic Mantle.
The No Magic Mantle. There we go.
You got my back, I got yours.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. But he does... Caster bump. But he does have the No Magic Mantle, or as I see Zach go in on the top side.
Brenhaugen has Flash and Ultimate available. They got to play this really safe because Repeat After Me is not level 6. Brenhaugen might take the 1v2. He's going on to Nightmare, uses that Ultimate, still has Flash available. He might just go down, but he hookshots back into the fight, trying to get some more damage under Repeat After Me. There's the shield, flashes away. He's just buying time for Nantucket, who comes in level 6, gets a Cataclysm. Now Nightmare's a little caught out. That's 2 kills over to the side of Nantucket, and they are running away with this game.
And Nan Hunter has been a beast this entire early game. He has neutralized any pressure that Zach could even possibly put on to the rest of Nantucket, not only by that early invade with that kill, but also just by being everywhere he is to counter gank. It just seems like he has been tracking Zach the entire time, not even looking for proactive ganks, just looking to make sure that his lanes can't get put behind, and that's allowing them to scale easily into this mid-game. We're approaching 10 minutes. They're up 3.7 thousand gold right now. What more can you ask of from this jungler?
Well, Nan Hunter also having 100% kill participation. Every kill that's happened for their team, he's been present for that. So yeah, like you said, props to Nan Hunter. Didn't even have to burn Flash there to get that kill. And turning it around for Brenhaugen. I lost track of where he was. I thought Brenhaugen was in trouble, but then suddenly there's the J4 saving the day yet again.
I mean, if you're the Zac, that's why when you know you're not as early of a ganker as the J4, you get that early vision out so you can track him.
Yep.
So you're not the one being surprised by the J4 showing up in the lane. And now you already see, as we said, Swain headed toward that Abyssal Mask. You see the J4 already has his first jungle item, working on his second. Camille has her Tiamat. She's easily turning into that snowball Camille that we knew that they would fear. And Sivir already has a Berserker's Greaves. Everyone's just so comfortable right now for Nantucket, and you don't want that for St. Cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Nantucket wants to keep the momentum going forward. Interesting to note, Nightmare actually took the blue buff there, as opposed to giving it to I'm Habib. I mean, this Cassiopeia full health. Ooh, takes a decent chunk of damage there. But full health, full mana, and has that tier. So this is a stage where Cassiopeia probably doesn't even need that blue buff necessarily. The cooldown reduction would be helpful, but also Nightmare was able to hit 6. And going back to that play topside, the reason Brent Haugen and Nan Hunter were able to turn that around is because the Cho'Gath was level 5 as well as the Zac, but fight mid side. I'm Habib getting caught out by Nan Hunter. Misses the Petrifying Gaze completely. Actually, no, does hit onto Swain, but it doesn't even matter. Look at the TP coming down on the top side. Nan Hunter getting bursted down. Actually falls. Kane's a little caught out, though. This Sivir might be able to take him down, but no, it's going to be Brent Haugen to look at Swain on the top side, taking down the Morgana. Might actually get that kill as well. Trying to dive turret. Can't quite get there, but still, it's a 1-for-2 trade in favor of Nantucket.
And once again, the response from Nantucket is just that much faster compared to the response from St. Cloud. Yes, Nantucket initiated the play, and they could have gotten turned on by the bottom side of St. Cloud, but the rest of the map for Nantucket collapsed so quickly that it seemed like St. Cloud went from being in a 3v2 to a 3v5, and that's why they lost that fight and lost mid-turret. And now things are slowly starting to get out of control right now. They can bring it back, but now they have to wait for this Varus and this Cassiopeia to come online before they can even do anything. They're going to end up succeeding a lot of objectives here, even with the Cho'Gath. There are a lot of objectives they just can't take fights around now because they're so far behind.
And again, this is a grudge match. Brent Haugen, he jumped ship. He left St. Cloud Storm to play for Nantucket at this tournament. Definitely working for him right now. 1-0-3 on this Camille, having a very impressive performance. Very far ahead in CS. That's almost double the CS of Repeat After Me. So this Cho'Gath, not only is he not tanky, but he doesn't even have that many stacks on his ultimate yet. So it's going to take him a while to come online. They do have a lot of scaling, though. Cho'Gath and Cassiopeia can scale very well into the late game. Nantucket, they got to keep the pressure on.
I mean, we saw it early in this tournament. We had a Cassiopeia just go completely off in a late game. I can't remember if she won her game or not, but she was a key pivotal point in her team actually even staying in the game, because once she gets that Archangel staff, once she gets, you can go for either the Leandry's Torment, you can go for the Renault. The point is, once you get those two items, you do so much damage that you can stave off the rest of a whole team until your team scales up.
And against the likes of a damaged J4, by the way, building AD and a Camille and a Sivir, I would be fine with a Zonia's Hourglass as well, because having that little extra armor as well as the ability to go invulnerable can really help turn around these fights against that electrocute J4. And look at Swamp Man getting so aggressive bot side. 2 turret advantage to Nantucket. And it's looking like they could close this game out and around the 20-minute mark if they keep this kind of momentum.
And they're feeling so confident. You saw him even pop the On the Hunt looking for that 2v2 kill right now. In the top side, I do believe there are pings going down on the Rift Herald, so that will be the next objective that both teams look to try and take right now on the map. Rift Herald will be so huge for St. Cloud, just as a denial. Slow down the tempo and the snowball of Nantucket by denying that objective, maybe even looking for a fight around it if they can control vision around it right now. So that'll probably be where the next action is. This Zac, though, it's going to be really tricky because he's so far behind. You mentioned earlier that he took blue buff. It's because his experience difference was so far behind the J4. He has to take that blue buff because otherwise he falls further and further behind. And that's a position you don't want to be in as well, where you have to give up buffs to your jungler just so that he can stay ahead, therefore depriving your laners.
And look at this. Brent Haugen's just going to get a free turret. We saw Cho'Gath back. Maybe that was the call. Maybe the call was saying, look, we're just going to abandon this top turret because we cannot defend it. And they knew that this Rift Herald would be the next objective. Now started by Nantucket. There could be a fight. They're onto the Lulu, but the knockup blocks Nightmare's entrance into the pit. Wow, I don't even know if that was intentional, but that was beautiful to watch there from Zor.
Oh, it was
This
extremely
Rift Herald-
intense, but they might still look for the fight here. They
TP
do have a
coming
numbers
through.
advantage
Cho'Gath
and
over the
positional
wall. Can he get
advantage.
the consume onto the objective? But he might actually need to save it for the fight. Kane actually picks up a kill on Dazor. Can they turn it around and get more for it? It's a double kill over to the Sivir. Those ricochets do so much, and members of St. Cloud Storm are so low. I don't think they can take it. That's a clean sweep over to Nantucket, and I believe they got the Rift Herald. That's just adding insult to injury right there.
And that right there is what we call a tilter, my friend. They had the positional advantage and the numbers advantage, but because of the gold lead that has been accrued by Nantucket, and we talked about before the game, this Sivir damage is so sneaky, but once those boomerang blades start coming in, she already has her Essence Reaver and her attack speed, her Berserker Greaves. Once that damage starts coming through, it can hit like a truck in extended team fights, and that's exactly what happened. St. Cloud wasn't able to end that fight fast, and therefore, once again, Nantucket was able to respond just as fast, and they just took the prolonged team fight and took over.
And the issue is when Cho'Gath goes over that wall, he's got two options. Either use the ultimate to take the Rift Herald or use it to try to turn the fight. He opted for the fight, but he only got onto the Camille. He needed to take out that Sivir because she's the team fight damage threat. Same with his Swain. Camille's good on single targets. J4 good on single targets. But if they're looking for a 5v5, they got to take down these AoE damage. But they actually might catch out the Swain. Yep. Unfortunately, Feed My Nantucket a little too far forward there, and does pay the piper for that.
And these are the type of picks you need, the shutdown gold you need if you're St. Cloud trying to get back in this game. Not only does it give you extra gold, it also slows down the tempo of Nantucket. It doesn't allow them to do as much as they want to. They could have easily moved into a full 1-3-1 and made life extremely hard from just the global map pressure onto St. Cloud. Instead, now it's back to a 4-1 that to reset the map, and that just allows this Varus, allows Cassiopeia to continue to scale.
And
get
Hunter,
items.
is he going for the
They're
smite
gonna fight
still?
over the red buff, though.
He actually doesn't get it. Now getting rooted up. He's going to fall down. Was that worth his life? There's a Lulu ultimate. He actually flashes, so he's not going down yet. But I'm going in onto the Lulu flashes forward, getting that damage, turning onto the J4, but getting bursted down himself. That's an electrocute damage. J4, he hurts. But now Nan Hunter, unfortunately, might go down. Doesn't get the kill on Habib, but Burnhag is there over the wall with the sweep. Makes it another kill. Actually gets a three-man stun there. Hextech ultimatum in onto the Cho'Gath. He's going for it. Now it's a 4v1, but finally the Sivir's here, giving that damage, trying to get onto Nightmare. Can't quite get it, though, and you got to be careful. Varus is there for the DPS, but so is Feed My Nantucket. Swains get out of Kane, flash away from the Varus. Now Swamp Man's looking for more blood. One more Otter should get it. Oh, there we go. Gets that kill, and what are you doing, Nightmare? A little too far forward. I think Feed My Nantucket's flashed over the wall. He's going for it. He's trying to get MK Bones as well. The Black Shield just keeping the Morgana safe, but Feed My Nantucket's got blood in his eyes. He wants his kill, using the ultimate. He might even take down the Cho'Gath, but no, he just runs away, and that was absolutely ridiculous from Nantucket.
And I don't understand how Nantucket got through that. While they were overextending and overagreeing, they could look to take more turrets right here. Yeah. And they're going to a cutout in that play. They have Rift Herald. They're going to pop it right now. There's only two members.
Oh, they might even give repeat after me. The Cho'Gath goes down for the third time. This Rift Herald is going to smack the turret. They might get the inhibitor as well. Look at how fast they can push these waves. Hell, they could maybe go for the game. I don't think they won it. Yeah, they're backing up.
Yeah, they don't.
But
I
wouldn't be surprised if they went for more.
They can't go for the game just yet. But you're seeing a prime example of what happens when the scaling composition hits its power spikes early. The Swain already has his Rod of Ages going toward the Morel Nomicons.
Oh, stop in the back of Swain.
Oh my God! Again.
Okay, he's just buying time right now. That will become a Zonia's later, I'm assuming. But that's not a good feeling for Feed My Nantucket when you're probably buying when you should be watching your lane.
Yeah, you can't. That's a greedy back right there. Gets punished by it. And so St. Cloud will feel a little bit better about that. But overall, I'm feeling pretty poor if I'm St. Cloud, just because you're finding these picks and you're still getting punished for them as if you did something wrong, as we get.
Oh, but Petrifying Gaze again lands into Brenthagen, but it's just not enough as the Camille takes down Cassiopeia, and right as they pick up the kill on Swain, they just give one right back over.
And if you're St. Cloud, this might be the time when you start thinking over to the next game, because right now, I mean, this snowball, the Camille, she's not going to get any weaker. Yeah. Same for the Sivir or the Swain. So, and the Varus, I don't have confidence in Varus Cassiopeia right now, just being able to outdamage him in a 5v5 team fight. So it's going to be extremely hard unless Nantucket continues to give over these picks to the side of St. Cloud. That just puts them at a deficit and allows them to get objectives they shouldn't get. It's going to be really, really hard for St. Cloud to find a way back into this game.
But if you're St. Cloud and you're getting these picks, you need to make sure that you're not just giving them right back over like that Cassiopeia mid lane. So I want to see a little cleaner play from St. Cloud. And you know what? I root for the underdog. I think everybody does. We can all, associate with
Yeah.
that mentality. And right away, Nantucket, undefeated, when they were up on stage with me, Brent Haugen just completely on his own says, "Oh, it's now that I don't have a garbage jungler, my team's actually
Oh,
good."
wow.
And they're winning. So I want to defend Nightmare and say, no, Nightmare, you do it. But, 2-5-3 on the Zach, not looking too great. How can he clean this up? How can this Zach help win the game for the team?
Right now, he just had to look for that. He's had to look for that miracle engage. And the way this Lulu has been playing, interrupting every single time he's trying to go in, actually a fight
They might
in their
actually fight it
base.
here under the Swain, but they just can't get the damage. And Cassiopeia 1v1 against the Camille while the J4 is on 3 members. There's a Lulu ultimate, keep him alive. And Nantucket just turns the whole fight. They don't even need to worry about a clean engage. They just got to run at St. Cloud Storm right now, and they're going to win the game right here. Super Minions pushing mid. They have all 5 members alive. That was a clean ace. And game number 1, over lightning fast. They got to take down these turrets, but they're going to make short work of those.
And my MVP for game number 1, we're about to have a pre-20-minute game here, ladies and
Wow.
gentlemen. They're going to do this before 20 minutes. And my MVP right for this game is Nan Hunter.
Nan Hunter, okay.
He got so much done in the early game, taking out the Zach early, putting him behind, and then continue to capitalize. In team fights, he played the team fights extremely well. You saw in the last one. Yes, he died, but he isolated so much of the rest of St. Cloud's damage that the rest of Nantucket was just able to waste away at the tanks of St. Cloud while the backline was just stuck in a cataclysm, and there's not much you can do there. He was around the map, counter-ganking, being a control jungler on a J4 that was built aggressively.
Yeah,
it was
look at
just
that build.
superb play.
That is ridiculous. No tank items. He has Merc Treads. That's all he's got. That's all he needs. Because that was an electrocute full damage J4, and my God, did he actually put out that damage. I'd love to take a look at the damage charts if we can get them up in a moment. But first, let's talk about where things started to go wrong for the side of St. Cloud Storm and how they can address that for the next game.
Honestly, it started to go wrong at that level 1 invade from Nanhunter. When your Zach gets that far behind that early, it's impossible for him to gank for any of his lanes unless Nantucket was over aggressive in the laning phase, which they weren't. And then from there, it was just downhill. You see the damage coming through right now. And
J4 outdamaged everybody on St. Cloud Storm.
Full Chad. That's just full Chad J4 right there. That's full Chad J4. The Silver coming through as well, doing a lot of damage to those boomerang blades. But yeah, it was downhill. Once your Zach basically is rendered ineffective in their early game, he can't get those ganks off for you, which means you can just easily be preyed upon by the J4.
Yep.
J4 counter ganking, finding advantages all on his own. It was masterful.
Well, there's still a chance. This is a best-of-5 series, so we're going to take a short break and then be right back as St. Cloud Storm takes on Nantucket to try to take game number 2. Don't go anywhere.